days, the same shit, same people, same whip, same problems, same sip, same issue, same grade.
We're very uncomfortable, Doomcat. Not a fan of the limelight, are we? This is all you've ever wanted. I'm YordanSucks from South Florida. This is Doomcat. You can go now.
I met Yordan at an event in Miami last year. I was setting up to do some live art and his table was right next to mine. You wouldn't have been able to miss it because it was just filled with art and stuff to look at. My first impressions of him were that he could talk a lot, but he was really humble and honest about everything. As a few weeks passed, I asked him to set up at an event that I was throwing. I watched his creative process through Instagram and was pretty humbled by how much the guy works. Constantly screen printing, hand painting, ripping, sewing, splashing, dripping. What most of us have to care about, he was sustaining a decent living doing mostly what he loved. And that's always been my goal and the root of all inspiration for me, to be able to create on my own terms for a living. Yeah.
I've been selling art for a while, actually, probably like going on like 10 years, probably like 8 or 9 years. Started as a graffiti writer, and there's no money in that, just jail time. I've been doing art as long as, like, I mean, before I even knew what art was, you know, I was just always like writing on things, and like, I don't know, I didn't really consider it as like anything other than like what I did. I didn't really even know it was art, you know, I was just expressing myself, I guess. I don't know. I probably about like 5 or 6 years ago realized that like I started painting on canvas probably like 8 or 9 years ago, and then selling them. I did it, you know, I fell kind of ass backwards into an art show in like 2009 or something like that, and I was, you know, to pay for legal fees was really all it was. It was, you know, I didn't really think people bought art, you know. Definitely wasn't as popular as it is now. It's definitely like way cooler than I ever thought it would be to be an artist. Like, I mean, I just try to, like, all I really have to do is go to the post office, you know, 3 times a week, 4 times a week. Lately, I've been getting like some alright, like bigger jobs, and I'll get like chunks of money rather than, you know what I mean? So I'm not like scrounging as much. It's generally like, it's been working, you know, lately. You know, other years and months have been like, you know, a struggle or whatever, but as of like lately, it's been pretty nice. But still, like, I don't know, I just gotta keep a routine going. Like, I stopped like doing drugs again. It's cause like I was finding myself like all depressed and shit. I feel like that has a lot to do with it, like weed especially. Like, as much as I love the idea of weed, I just like I can't do it anymore. Like, it's not what it used to be for me. I don't know, I had to stop for like 2 years for probation and shit. And then when I started again, it was like fine. And not in the beginning, it was like awful, because it's just fucking terrifying for some reason. Like, you stop smoking weed and then like start again, like, it's like fucking like nerve-wracking. But like, you get past that in a week, you know what I mean? It's like chilling. It's just like, it's not really productive. Like, I have you know, I can get a lot done while I'm smoking weed all the time, but I have to be smoking weed like all day, every day to be able to get like my tolerance and shit. And then it's like, what the fuck am I even doing this for? Bro, I fucking shot heroin, bro. Like, Xanax was the worst fucking shit ever. Like, like, dude, Xanax was so much harder to get over than heroin. Like, I was like 90 days of like waking up in like complete fucking like psychosis because of Xanax. It's been used for a long time, like ancient medicine, you know what I mean? Like, it affects the same part of your brain as opiates, but like, it is addictive. Like, I'm not gonna say it isn't, you know what I mean? But like, this addiction or that addiction, like, everything is like, I don't really know what in life you can't like abuse, you know what I mean? So like, as far as this thing goes, like, I don't really have an issue with like, or like spending $2 a day or like whatever, you know, less than a couple dollars a day on like a vice that like actually helps me. Like, at this point, really, it's in the same family as coffee, so like, this gives me a little bit of gas, you know. I'm actually talking about kratom. This is actually kava right now, but I haven't really been drinking kava that long because it used to give me really bad anxiety when I was like fucking with other drugs. But like, my friends all drink it, like, 'cause I hang out with a bunch of kids in recovery because like I don't do drugs and shit. So like, I chill at this place where like you got pool tables and shit, and it's like a vape shop. So I just chill there and like play pool and like drink kratom. I used to love like painting trains. I love like train yards, but I mean, I probably painted like I would like. I wasn't really about pushing a name as much. Like I mean, I was in the beginning, but it was more about just like writing, like doing characters and just like whatever I like wanted to write, or like shit that I thought I would want to see on the street. Like if I was walking to wherever I was walking to and I saw something that like, you know, I'm always looking, even though I don't write graffiti or anything like that anymore. I'm always like, you know, looking for it. And if it, you know, I like to see things that like are funny or like not funny, like horrible things or like whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. I just got into it because like, I guess it's more interesting than, you know, like a decrepit old building, like something funny on it. Like, I don't know, it's just always about just like, just unleashing some shit. Like it probably started in school, you know, being in like, in school suspension and shit like that, just drawing on the desk or like whatever, you know, and it was just funny because you'd go back to that class or whatever and your shit is on the desk, you know. I just always thought that was funny. You know, I guess it's like an ego thing, or it started out as one. I mean, all I ever wanted out of this was just like to be able to do what I want to do and like travel and, you know, fucking feed this little bastard and shit like that, you know. I don't know, I just always wanted to just like leave a mark, I guess. I never really had any kind of like, I never wanted to be anywhere like mainstream, obviously, but like, I think I have a pretty distinct style, and like that's how the whole graffiti thing was too. I never really pushed a name. I kind of just drew things in this certain style, and that was recognizable among other artists or you know, people that look at that kind of thing. Like I've done a lot of things for a lot of different people. The only collaborations that I'm currently like even doing at all would be like NRS Gallery. This is some shit, you know. I go over to Cadian's house and kind of just take over his studio and just print a whole bunch of shit with his designs. Kind of print my own designs. So I'm screen printing these days. So I've got my own screens and things like that. So I've been, you know, dabbling with a lot of different mediums, and that's pretty much what my whole art career was a progression of mediums. You know, it always started with, you know, a marker or a pen on a wall. You know, I wrote a lot with pencil on walls for the early part of like, before I even really knew like what graffiti was or art was. It's kind of just like writing like messages to myself for the future, like later days of walking down the street or to class or whatever and seeing it and laughing about it, you know, just like 'cause I think it's funny. And I also like things that make other people uncomfortable, and I think that graffiti definitely makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Probably not as much anymore because it's like definitely not what it was, but I kind of like where it is. I mean, I don't know. It's a love-hate. All this shit's a love-hate, you know. Art is a love-hate relationship for sure, because there's a lot of times where I do not like what I'm doing. Just because it is like on some commercial, like I'm making shit that people want. But like money always was an issue. I like grew up like poor as shit, you know, no like real, I had you know, my mom's great, but yeah, you know, yeah, so basically like childhood and stuff like wasn't like really, I never really got things. Like I didn't really like have a whole bunch of stuff, so like I would use what I had and like I just used whatever mediums I had, and now like I'm branching out into clothing and this and that because, you know, it is popular, yes, but it is like something that it's like an everyday, more functional piece of art, you know? And I think that's, you know, pretty cool that people, you know, can, you know, but now it's like I'm seeing at Target and Walmart, like hand painted, or not hand painted, mind you, but like looking like it's hand painted denim, like live free, dream type shit on denim, which is like, yeah, I mean, you can't like, with progress, you can't have progress and then expect the, like it to progress to something that you're always gonna like. You know, I definitely don't like a lot of things. I'm very cynical. I'm trying not to be less cynical these days, but yeah, you know, I think that it'd be interesting to see like what it goes further from here. I mean, obviously the digital art world is pretty interesting. Yeah, you know, I have a couple friends I got like a couple friends, and those are the, you know, the people that I do surround myself are, you know, very, very talented artists, and I like to, you know, surround myself with people that are like trying to progress and do things that not a lot of people even like think of doing. You know, gallery shows. I've been kind of chilling on the canvases as of late. I haven't been doing much in the way of canvases. just because I have like probably 100 canvases on hand at this point. And I've been trying to like not sell them and like kind of build like a body of work that I can like kind of do full gallery takeovers, like solo shows, managers out west in San Francisco. So in the future I will be doing, you know, hopefully, you know, there's some things that are in the works. So.
This market is dog shit.